Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you game 2 in a best of 3 between AmberT and włochaty, and this is the final of the 5th Asia Pacific tournament. So in the first game we did see AmberT go 1-up against włochaty, so włochaty's going to have to win 2 in a row if he wants to bring this back and win the tournament for himself. AmberT only has to win this one in order to do it himself. So this map is Odon River. AmberT's going to be taking out the 4th Armoured on the Allied side, and on the Axis side it's the 3rd Fallschirmjager. Now what we have seen in the past, especially from Corbo, is that he can control this map very well with the 3rd Fallschirmjager. Odon River seems to work very well specifically with that division, because there are a lot of choke points that things like Puptions and Panzerschrecks can basically cover on the map. So the bottom side here and on the top side, they're both covered from like this tree line, for example. Then on the bottom side, you can cover it from all the way back here, this lovely AT position, or you can maybe put Panzerschrecks in here, or maybe a Puption, say here, because that's going to be in range if something comes around the edge of the tree line. There's just a lot of ways that you can work around things with the Fallschirmjager on this map. That's not to say though that we should discount the 4th Armoured, the 4th Armoured being the 4th Armoured of course. And things like Hellcats and stuff, they can obviously make a breakthrough quite quickly if they get the right opportunity. There is of course like mortar carriers and stuff like that, so I think we're in for a good one for this game. Looks like AmberT is going to be bringing down M8 cavalries as well. We mustn't forget about those. Let's have a look at some of włochaty's units since he's put the majority down. So he's got Opel Blitz with the Fallschirmjagers on this top side. He's got the Kubel there. It might be Fallschirm Speertroop or it could be Fallschirm Panzerabwehr. Then we have some flamethrowers following those up. Further down, more recon, more Fallschirmjagers. And then more Fallschirmjagers for the mid, with a command there and also the recon, and on the very bottom side even more Fallschirmjagers, a Pack 41 and also the command. Over on the side of AmberT, he is going to be going for a rifle start on the bottom side with some command rifles, also going to be heading down there with what looks like 2 M8 cavalries, rifles for the mid, and also 2 M8 cavalries for the top side with more rifles. So a pretty simple start here from AmberT, going to be focusing on the M8 cavalry, rifles and command. Pretty much just a trifecta of units that has the potential to do very well at this sort of range. Especially these M8 cavalries, because they will be able to match up to, for example, L6s if they need to, and if they don't bump into L6s, they do of course have a 30 cal and a 50 cal that can destroy Fallschirmjagers as long as they stay out of the Panzerfaust range. But here we are, we're off. Let's have a look at where these units are heading. It looks like quite a conservative start, honestly, from AmberT. Going to be getting his rifles down onto this bottom side and maybe just trying to walk them through the forest rather than try and suicide up this road. The rifles to the mid just going to hold that chateau. Then looks like the M8 cavalries are going to head to the top side. So a top and bottom side push from AmberT at the start of the game. It looks like he'll have a much easier time on the top since it's just Fallschirmjagers. No like AT specific units there, maybe, unless that's a sort of Fallschirm Panzerabwehr, I guess. But on the bottom side, this Pack 41 could prove an issue for M8 cavalries for sure. That might be definitely something he needs to be careful of, and it looks like these are Fallschirm Panzerabwehr squads in these Kubels. So that's what he's going to be using to control these crossings, and like I mentioned, the Panzerschreck's really good for doing so. They do have that 250 meter range, so if anything comes onto this middle island, it's going to get hit. Fallschirm Panzerabwehr for the top, of course. And yeah, this Pack 41's getting into a nice position. It can also sit on the edge of this tree line, just here. But I think I prefer this position, just because it's utilizing the maximum range. But I guess if they have 3 armor, and the Pack 41 might bounce once or twice at max range, so getting them closer may be a better idea. Anyway, Fallschirmjager is going to be covering the river here, and of course we've got to remember that infantry can cross these river areas, but it does leave them vulnerable to an attack from things like these M8 cavalries on the other side. So if Fallschirmjager, for example, wants to push through the mid, an M8 cavalry could just come down, ruin them, and it kind of leaves włochaty out to dry because his L6, for example, which would be the only real thing to match up in the early game. Won't be able to cover him very well. I guess you could maybe make a push with like the Fallschirmjager and the Fallschirmjägers across the open, but very expensive combination to use. You've got to remember these Fallschirmjäger squads are 45 points a pop. Now Fallschirmjägers here are going to open up. Flammenwerfer is going to throw its smoke, get that down, try and advance onto the rifles, get an advantage there, but the rifles at close range can do quite a lot of damage, but as soon as they back off, while the Fallschirmjägers might be able to get their MG34s firing, but not quite. Fallschirmjägers are pushing up to this top side, and honestly, this is a really good terrain for Fallschirmjägers. Fallschirmjägers can really utilize orchards because they engage at like the 200 or just under 200 meter range, and that's perfect for the FG42, G43 and the MG34s that they have. So a significant push coming through down here now for AmberT. It looks like there is some more reinforcements though. We have this Kubel, which might have more Panzerabwehr. Then there's the Fallschirmjägers. These Fallschirmjägers are being chewed up. Nice engagement here though. Fallschirmjägers using their machine guns to pin down these rifles whilst using their close range armaments to attack these rifles. Flammenwerfer is going to come through the smoke and try and help out there. We can watch the line of sight. As they get through that smoke, it will open up, as you can see. And then they can fire away with those flames and pin them down, although they did just get absolutely annihilated. So the rifles are moving across the open here. I'd like to see an L6, honestly. I think that would be a really good idea, just to have something to hold back the rifles from range that is not Fallschirmjäger, because currently the Fallschirmjägers, where they've been opening up from range, are taking a lot of damage from the M8 cavalries, but a really nice kill here for the Fallschirmpanzerabwehr is going to take out the M8. We do see Abrams heading up to this top side now though, so that is going to supplement that loss. But Scharfschütze are going to be the ranged engagement unit versus infantry. These do have 500 meter range, which outranges the BARs here, which have 400 meter range. So that's what Włochaty can use instead of maybe an L6 if he doesn't like using them. But these Fallschirmjägers, they've got to be careful. There's no command here keeping those from surrendering. This Fallschirmführer should get to the edge of this tree line. Because now if these units get pinned, that's a mass surrender. Although Rifle's going to be eating it from the Fallschirmjägers there on this top side. Wow, this Fallschirmjäger's got ruined. Down to 1 health now. Fallschirmpanzerabwehr also trying to back off. Do get killed off by the rifles. That is a very, very big deal, because now there's not that 250 meter range AT that will help these Fallschirmjägers. But look at this force in the mid here. Double Fallschirmpanzerabwehr Scharfschütze. This one's pretty strong as well though. Fallschirmführer and the Fallschirmjäger pushing through with the Fallschirmpanzerabwehr. This is just really interesting play. The Scharfschütze are going to be opening up onto the rifles. They are taking quite a lot of fire. The rifles can put down 8 HE at range, so the Scharfschütze don't necessarily want to sit there for too long, but will pin down the rifles nonetheless. Fallschirmjäger is going to get unloaded in the mid. Fallschirmjägers in the mid have already pinned down these rifles, so they're going to try and advance onto that chateau, and if they can get in there, that is going to be a huge swing of territory for Włochaty. So he's finding holes in the defense of AmberT at the moment. AmberT's aggression really not paying off on this bottom side just yet. This Pak 41 Gerlich is a problem, and there's no recon here really to spot it. The Bantam is on the way, but that will likely just get killed by it, so I'm not entirely sure where to go about that. But Fallschirmjägers here, they are pinned. Again, I'd like to see the Fallschirmpioneer come closer, but as long as the Scharfschütze keeps pinning down these squads, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. M8 cavalry is going to go for a little push here. That's very risky. That Fallschirmjäger, he knows there's 2 squads. He's been fighting them the whole time. Fortunately for AmberT, he does not get his M8 cavalry killed by that Panzerfaust, and is now able to put down both the 30 cal and the 50 cal fire onto those squads, which is going to absolutely melt them. Pak 41's trying to get into position. There is an L6 on the way. More Fallschirmjägers for the mid. So Fallschirmpanzerabwehr and Fallschirmjägers going to be taking up these houses. Bantam, I think, will get killed if it gets close enough. Fallschirmführer is just trying to get into cover and will do so. But these Fallschirmjägers, they survived on this top side, and the rifles aren't really lasting too well. I don't think that these units are really being utilized properly. Maybe sort of bringing it over to this side would be a nice idea. Just have a rifles come in there, but those rifles are going to end up getting themselves surrendered. Nice kill though for the Pak 41 Gerlich, and I think the L6 also had a hand in that. But M8 cavalry does go down, but there's no Fallschirmjagers to stop these rifles from advancing across the open. But this is where the L6 comes in handy. Any units that are in the open can just be melted by these L6s, especially the 2-star ones. That's with the command nearby. So yeah, more Fallschirmjagers being reinforced to this top side. Command is now coming in to assist those. 54% territory lead for Włochaty. This has certainly been an explosive start to this game. A lot of stuff going on all over the map. Both players playing out of their skin in this one, I feel. There are obviously mistakes being made here and there, but still a very good performance. Fallschirmjagers do manage to find the kill onto the command. That is very good. However, of course, Abrams does still supply command, so that can be used to stop these Fallschirmjagers, for example, from dying too easily. But the Pak-41 Gerlich has been found, is going to be hit by these rifles. Fallschirmjagers have now come in, though, to help out. A Fallschirmpanzer squad at close range could actually be a really good assistance against these rifles. It's actually going to be a sharpshooter that drops out. L6 really needs to maybe come round here and get onto these rifles in the open, maybe just utilize line of sight. So he's not in line of sight of the M8, but he is in line of sight of the infantry. That would be good. Looks like Włochaty is going to do exactly that. On this top side, rifles are going to be pinned. M4 Abrams has fallen back, so the rifles are going to surrender, but not really much that AmberT can do. He can't really move forwards because otherwise he is at risk of these Panzerschrecks and the Fallschirmpanzer and so on, because Włochaty has just been utilizing those so damn much throughout the game so far. But one thing that is happening here is AmberT's squads of infantry are getting very low on men. One has already gone down. There goes another. The sharpshooter at close range doing a ton of damage. And these Fallschirmjagers also helping out. L6 getting on top of that infantry squad. This is just insane now. Włochaty has a very good chance of just repelling all of this infantry, and once the infantry is dead, then a lot of these vehicles are sitting ducks, especially with a 2-star Pak-41 Gerlich coming in. That is going to be nasty on that bottom side. Sharpshooters have found the rifles. They are going to be engaging those. And we can also see these rifles are pinned here. I believe that's by this Kubel MG. More infantry on the way though. Włochaty has just relied solely on infantry, and it's so interesting to watch. He does have like one L6, but there's not a single plane come out yet. It's a very different style of play to Corbo, where he relies on those ME-109s to strafe things. Either way, in this forest, we can see a trade. The Kubel does go down, but yeah, Włochaty lost his sharpshooter, he lost his command. He traded the command of AmberT for that. The L6 did come through and kill the MGMC. Now the L6 is going to be popping the Bantam. Now it's going to be looking for a kill onto the M8 cavalry, and if he can find that, that's going to put him in a very good position. We have moved into phase B though, so now AmberT is going to be getting 130 points per minute, but this positioning from Włochaty right now is going to be really difficult for AmberT to deal with. If this bottom push gets repelled, it's easily going to be a +2 for Włochaty, and it's just going to leave him in such a good position for the rest of the game. So the L6 is going to be trying to engage with the Pak-41 onto this M8 cavalry. Again, if that just gets killed, then it puts Włochaty in a very, very good position. Another sharpshooter coming in, another flamethrower on the way. Flamethrower squads are much better for just their napalm. They can obviously use smoke and cover the units really well. So Włochaty making use of that here is really nice. Fallschirmpanzer going to be moving into this tree line. Might take a shot at this Jeep 30 cal, especially if it's on an attack move order. Yes, it will. Gonna blow that up, no problemo. New M8's going to be coming around the corners, taking shots from the Pak-41. Oh, the Pak-41 hits an engine stall onto this M8 cavalry. The L6 is going to come around the corner, but not needed. Pak-41 finds a kill. Going to leave one armored leader on Włochaty's side of things, and with that going down, you can see the +2 has fallen in favour of Włochaty, doing a fantastic job with these Fallschirmjäger so far, coming now in with more reinforcements. He's got also the SPW AB41. These things are very fast, can utilise salients very, very well, and just like push into them. What's needed down on this bottom side for Włochaty is more recon, and I think he might bring some in. If not, he just needs to find whatever's here. Generally, you don't have to worry too much about AT infantry from the 4th Armoured, so he can be quite aggressive towards that armoured leader. The only things that have bazookas are these cavalry scouts that you can see AmberT is utilising in the mid here to spot for his engineers, as they have now unloaded and will be pushing towards these units. But with Włochaty somehow managing to keep up his reinforcements at this point, he's left himself in a pretty good position on AmberT's side of the river. Armoured leader has been found, is going to be fired upon by the L6 by the looks of things, and they will die very quickly indeed, although getting that smoke down, that is a new smoke grenade. Those armoured leaders never used to have smoke grenades, but now they do, which is really nice. Fallschirmjager's ripping to shreds some engineers there. M8 cavalry is going to try and come in and repay the favour. Fallschirmpanzerabwehr has been forced back, are going to come under fire by the Bantam. I think the recon spotted those, and honestly Włochaty didn't want that to die. But the Fallschirmführer does go down, that's pretty important, and it seems like AmberT is starting to kill off quite a lot of these units, because they are quite low on men in general. Other than the Fallschirmjager squads, most of the squads that Włochaty is using, like Fallschirmpanzerabwehr, the Panzerschrecks, the flamethrowers, the sharpshooter, they're all like really low strength, but that is an impressive kill there for the LG42. Comes in, takes out Abrams, and now these rifles just don't know what to do. They are running for their life. This LG42 can fire so damn quick. It has 10 round per minute rate of fire, and yeah, getting that kill onto the Abrams there is just so important. And the other thing is about this LG42 though is that it can kill these M5A1s very easily, so AmberT's got to be very careful. And while this is going on, it looks like these engineers are going to come under fire from both of the FG42s and G43s. I'm surprised the MG34s aren't firing. It's because they're moving. Fallschirmjagers are going to be pinning down these engineers though, and that's going to leave this M8 cavalry in a very dodgy position, because now you've got Fallschirmjagers coming up from both sides, which are covering this road. That M8 cavalry is surely going to go down to a Panzerfaust now. Fallschirmjager, they are holding fire on all of their units at the moment, or all of their guns. Panzerfaust into the Jeep 30 cal would be nice. Sharpshooter are going to be pinning down rifles at range, and this SPW AB41 is really nice here actually, but with the M5A1 coming around the corner, it looks like that may be able to trade with the AB41. Fallschirmführer and Fallschirmpioneers, they're now going to be trading back against engineers though, and you can see the engineers have used up their grenades, and that may allow these Fallschirmpioneers all the room they need to advance through that forest area. Fallschirmjager does get the shot with the Panzerfaust onto the M8 cavalry. The engineers are being broken down here. 59, 60% territory lead, 61%. This has just caused a huge salient down here, and Włochaty has noticed it, going to be driving straight into it with the L6. You can see that fast move command. Fallschirmpanzerabwehr are going to try and stop the advance of these Stuarts, but that is a lot of Stuarts, and that is one very dead Fallschirmpanzerabwehr. The LG42 has a lot of work to do, but with all the 30 cals getting on target, that is going to also be very dead very quickly. Oh my. Off map coming down now from Włochaty. Oh, that's really sad that it just missed these M5A1s. They're going to be zooming through, trying to find as much ground as they can, and this is the break that AmberT really needs. He might also find this off map and kill that, which would be a really, really nice kill for him. Fallschirmpioneers though, with the Fallschirmführer still doing a ton of damage. You can see how quickly these engineers get pinned down, and going to be able to continue through, although these engineers have grenades and the Fallschirmpioneers do not, so those Fallschirmpioneers might go down. These engineers however are going to be pinned. L6 is still making ground on the bottom side. 2 more M5A1s are on the way, and it's such an interesting strategy to watch. But one thing I'm kind of worried about here is AmberT is letting these Stuarts spread out, and one Stuart has already gone down because of that. It's not good. This is not looking good now. There's a PaK-41 on the field that's going to have line of sight onto this M5A1. Off map is coming right down on top of it as well. That's going to force it to fall back, and under fire with the PaK-41 Gerlich, it's only a matter of time until it goes down, unless it can reverse out the 1,000 meter range, which I don't think it can. It's just going to get stuck on that tree line. This is just an absolutely insane game, but I love the strategy from AmberT, relying on these M5A1s over the Hellcats, it was a really good idea, but the execution just wasn't quite there. The M5A1 is going to get surrendered there, and now there's only one left just in the middle, and that's not going to take too long to clean up. It's not their heaviest vehicle in the world. So yes, it's providing AmberT with quite a lot of ground at the moment, but the further away it gets from the river, the more likely it is to get cut off, and then the territory goes back in favour of włochaty anyway. But Fallschirmjagers here, they've managed to do a great job. Engineers are trying to cut off the Fallschirmjagers, but this is really bad for AmberT. Allowing these Fallschirmjagers to, well, he didn't really allow them, but włochaty just kind of broke through and got his Fallschirmjagers to this town, and now that he is there, it's going to make it very difficult to control. But lovely bombing strike there from the P-38 is going to dislodge the Fallschirmjäger and the Fallschirmpanzerabwehr from the chateau. So that's one step down. The Fallschirmpioneers here are going to be surrendered, M5A1 making short work of those. It seems like AmberT, like I said, he had the right idea. These M5A1s are just really good choice against the 3rd Fallschirmjäger. But losing like 3 of them, or whatever it was, in the mid here now, and not keeping them concentrated, I feel like really cost him. The best thing I think to do with the M5A1s in that situation would just be like drive around and find squads and then kill them, right? Because every one you kill is like 45 points. Nice kill on this bottom side though for the M5A1 is going to take out the L6, gives the M5A1 a little bit of breathing room. But these Fallschirmjägers, if they sneak up, might be able to get into Panzerfaust range. Fallschirmpanzerabwehr is going to find the M5A1 near the chateau, and that is absolutely awful for AmberT. Oh, he must be so annoyed. These Fallschirmpanzerabwehr squads are like absolute ninjas in these forests sometimes, and you just never spot them. You never see them coming. Fallschirmjäger going to be taking out these engineers. They are at the perfect range. You can just see how much damage they take that quickly. Like, the best range for a Fallschirmjäger squad, guys, is always the 300-meter range, because that's where they can engage with all of their armaments, which gives them a serious amount of HE at range, like a solid 14. It's pretty nuts. So that's where they're good, and with their sort of veterancy on top of that, they're extremely accurate, so they do a lot of damage very quickly. Often people get carried away, especially in the early game with the 3rd Fallschirmjäger, with using them at close range, which is probably not the best way to use them at all. Right, anyway, Sturmpioneer is going to be coming into this top side orchard. L6 is on the way there as well to just cut things off. Kubel has been found, might get taken out by the M8 cavalry, yes it will. There is a Panzerschreck in this tree line though, so the closer the M8 cavalry does get, the more likely it is going to die to this Fallschirmpanzerabwehr, Panzerschreck, Fallschirmpanzerabwehr. What sort of name is that? Fallschirmpanzerschreck. So nice job there, but the Marauder, that's going to be coming in trying to strafe some Fallschirmjägers on this bottom side, but doesn't stop the Panzerschreck coming up, killing the half-track, not the half-track, the Stuart, and the Fallschirmjägers kills the Engineer. Engineers do manage to get into range, but I don't think włochaty is going to allow them to throw their grenade. These Sturmpioneers still trying to make some ground up here. Just a huge reliance on infantry. There's finally a HS-129 on the field, and that's going to ruin the M5A1. The 30 cal does get taken out, the Jeep 30 cal that was. The cavalry scouts go down as well. This M5A1 is going to get popped in the mid. There is a P-38 Lightning that's likely to clean up the HS-129, but still, that leaves AmberT with 4 units on the ground and a 67% territory lead for włochaty. This is just incredible. I have never really seen the 3rd Fallschirmjäger used this way, like so infantry focused, and actually be successful. And it's something that włochaty is just blown me out the water with. That is very, very impressive. 20 minutes and 54 seconds. AmberT is going to surrender. And fantastic job, włochaty, in that one, with 1,935 kills to 1,380 losses. I liked AmberT's attempt at using the M5A1s to make some ground. That was very, very smart. Rather than relying on the super expensive, well, in comparison, Hellcats. Whereas like the M5A1s, they're specifically tailored to ruin infantry at close range with their 30 cals. And you saw how easily they overwhelmed 80 defenses in the mid. I guess the only thing that they did lack is maybe a Bantam with them so that they could spot things like Panzerschrecks and stuff before they sort of ran into them themselves, but at the same time, I don't think a Bantam would spot a Panzerschreck in heavy cover before it got killed. So there's that. Either way, yeah, nice attempt there to break through from AmberT, but spreading them out, I think, rather than keeping them concentrated is what cost him. And yeah, incredible game. Just intense the whole way through. But that's going to bring it back to 1-1 for Hattie taking the second game. Moving on to the third game. Basically playing a best of one now. So, all to play for. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.